got to move on. We are just over halfway through the NBA season, and we thought it'd be a good idea to kind of give our mid-season picks for the NBA awards and our picks for our all-star starters. So, Jarrett, without further ado, let's just get things started with your mid-season pick for most valuable player.
All right. My most valuable player. It was really close between two players. But I have to go with Giannis.
Okay.
Giannis kept that Bucks team like coming back from the depths of the Eastern Conference playoff race early in the season when they dealt with some injuries and some COVID issues. And that Bucks big three has been playing very well for the most part, aside from like a blemish here or there, which is basically called a loss to the Pistons. But other than that, Giannis has been rolling. This team really hasn't missed a beat since their finals appearance, and they're the team to beat in the East this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, this was a tough one for me too, because a lot of the top competitors that I kind of looked at have a big negative kind of working towards them currently. Kevin Durant really is suffering from the MCL injury, and I know he's about to miss at least a month of basketball. Steph Curry's kind of had some recent struggles, hasn't really been as hot as the way he started the season. Giannis, I kind of faulted a little bit for his kind of slow start to the season. He really did get things going, and he's probably my number two. But my pick for mid-season MVP, and I'm about to get eye rolls, is LeBron James, man.
Oh, you're kidding me.
It is. Hear me out. The biggest negative that you can say for LeBron is the team's success. That's the absolute biggest negative that you could possibly put in his direction. But we pretend they're at the bottom of the West, okay? And they've dropped their last two. They're still the seventh seed.
Playoffs.
They're still in the playoffs. They're still the seventh seed. I completely get it. I know the eye rolls. He's second in the league in scoring. He's tied for third in minutes. He's playing without his second best player on the team. And you could argue that the best teammate he's had this year is Malik Monk. Right now, to me, he is the lesser of a group of negatives for the leaders. With his sustained play, I think this award currently could be his, certainly at the end of the season. I'm also going to factor in the part that he's 37 years old. We know this is a narrative-driven award. We absolutely know that. Voters get tired. This happens all the time. Voters will be looking around like, oh, Giannis has been fantastic, but do we really want to vote Giannis again? He's just kind of doing the same thing he's been doing. I got a feeling if they're able to climb up just a couple more, get to that 5 seed, get to that 4 seed, somewhere in there, probably 5. But right now, LeBron James is my midseason MVP pick. And I know it. I don't care. He's been the best player in the league so far this year at 37 years old. It's all right. It's okay to admit. It's all right. He's been impressive.
I have so many words.
He's been impressive. It's all right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He's been impressive.
It's okay.
He's been impressive, but how about let's just move on to our rookie of the year?
All right, let's move on to our rookie of the year.
Pop a blood vessel.
Go for it. Who's your rookie of the year?
All right. It's very close, and this could change next week. But just if the season ended today, I have to give it to Evan Mobley. I have to. Yeah. The man is he's going to be special. He's going to be the best player out of this draft class, no question. He's like a Kevin Garnett type player. I'm so excited to see what his development's like. He's helped this Cavs team so much to become one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. And he's a shot blocking threat every night. Like I can't think of how many veteran players are probably scared to go against this rookie every night if they're trying to get to the rim, because he's going to make it difficult for you. He also showed a lot of promise on the offensive end, and he's my rookie of the year. Simple as that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with Evan Mobley as well. This race has gotten tight at the midway mark, I will say. It's averaging 15 points a game, 8 rebounds, nearly 2 blocks per game. I think Cade Cunningham and Scotty Barnes are still within striking distance, but what Mobley's done with the Cavs, the numbers he's putting up right now, he's got to be the front runner. He's really helped that team, put that team in contention along with the other towers that they have down low. I love Evan Mobley as this pick. I do think it definitely has not been wrapped up, but he's done more than enough to have it here at the midway point. So, Jarrett, moving on to 6th man of the year, who is your pick?
This is a pick I'm confident with that we could wrap it up right now. Just give him the award in front of his home crowd whenever their next home game is. I'm giving it to Tyler Hero. He's been fantastic this year, and it really hasn't been close. Kelly Oubre is the only one that could make it a conversation. But in my mind, it's going to be Tyler Hero down the stretch. I don't have to say much more other than his production off the bench. His scoring has been fantastic. And he's kept the Heat afloat in games where they're just missing some key guys. So it's Tyler Hero for me.
Yeah, easy choice. Tyler Hero, which by the way was my preseason pick. Thank you very much. Dude has been balling and has really been the number one scoring option with a lot of injuries to Miami Heat. He's the closest to them. I literally wrote down the same thing was Kelly Oubre, but this is Heroes to win, man. He has been the front runner all season. He's helped the Miami Heat really be where they're at. He's been a primary number one scoring option, which you don't ask for a lot of six men. I know he's started a lot of games as well, but Tyler Hero has been the best man coming off the bench so far this year. He's really kind of taken his kind of sophomore slump to heart, and he's come back and he's gotten a lot better over this offseason. I love to see it from the young guy out of Kentucky, obviously playing for my Miami Heat. So absolutely love it. My preseason pick, and it looks like it's going to come true. So Jarrett, who is your coach of the year pick?
Well, even though I was a fan of the coach of the year last season, I think this guy who I would pick this season at this moment got robbed last year and should have won it last year. So I expected him to win it this year. It's Monty Williams. Monty Williams has proved that, no, it wasn't really a fluke that this Suns team was a finals team. The Suns, how many games in a row did they win? I was like, 17 or is it
17, 18, I think.
17,
yeah,
18, something like that. Like this team was rolling. They've kind of slowed down a little bit, but they're still like they're winning more games than they're losing, which is always a great trend. Unlike the Warriors right now, who are struggling a little bit, although they had to kick the Bulls' ass by like 42 points, but whatever. Anyway, Monty Williams is a great coach. I'm so happy he finally landed in an organization where he's truly showing like what he can do with a great team with good players, and I can't wait to see what the Suns do in the playoffs.
Yeah, this was a tough one too, because I mean, a lot of people, rookie of the year hasn't been tough. Six man of the year hasn't been tough. It's really been MVP and coach of the year where a lot of the debates have come from. And with the coach of the year, I think your top five, maybe even six, is not a bad pick. You can make an argument for a lot of guys up there. For me right now, maybe a little biased, I'm going with Eric Spoelstra for the Miami Heat. Look, losing your two top players for long stretches of the time in a new season, it's hard to kind of keep things trending in the right direction, especially in the newly competitive Eastern Conference. It's really tough to navigate. Spo has put his trust in Strus, Yurtsevin, Martin, and Garrett, and heck, it's worked, man. It's a tough one, though, with me. I mean, Taylor Jenkins of the Grizzlies really putting his name in that conversation, especially recently. Steve Kerr, obviously Monty Williams, a great pick. Billy Donovan's up there as one of those guys as well. Heck, I mean, Steve Nash has done a pretty good job so far with the Brooklyn Nets. So there's a lot of guys up there in that competition. I think Spo personally has just had the tougher route so far, and he's seen the most success with kind of the toughest situation that we've had so far this season. He's far from have it locked up in my opinion, but definitely he's leading the way, and my midseason pick is Eric Spoelstra. So Jarrett, moving on here. So let's just go into let's do your starting five for your Eastern Conference All-Stars.
Oh, I was gonna do the All-NBA.
Oh, you could do that as well. Yeah, go for that. Go for that.
I got my All-NBA teams here, and I got Curry, Morant, Durant, Giannis, and Jokic. I definitely know.
You're missing someone there.
No, I'm not actually.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not.
Go ahead.
I know who you think. I know who you think I'm missing. I know exactly who that player is. But this is why. Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Nikola Jokic are all MVP candidates. Jokic has kept a Nuggets team without an Anthony Davis, without the better days of Russell Westbrook, without any of those kind of players on his roster. Jamal Murray's been out. Michael Porter Jr. has been out almost the entire season. And when he was playing, he was awful. And he's a higher seed than LeBron. Giannis, Bucks are towards the top of the East. He's arguably the best player in the NBA. Same with Kevin Durant. Nets were at the top of the East for a while. He kept them afloat without James Harden for stretches, without Kyrie for like 99% of the season. And that's the front court player. So I had to move somebody out, and it happens to be LeBron James. And also LeBron missed a bigger chunk of the season to start. So that's my all NBA first team.
All right. Well, I'm going to give some love to a guy that you haven't given love to yet. But my first team, I'm going to go with Curry. And how about DeMar DeRozan there as my two guard positions?
Oh,
giving a little
Okay.
credit where credit is due. I think John Moran has been great, but I think DeMar DeRozan gets a little edge there. And I'm going to go with LeBron, KD, and Giannis as my 3 big men. I think, first off, I think it's blasphemous to have LeBron as not one of the 5 best players in the NBA. Personally, I understand your reasoning. Someone has to get bounced. There's only so many spots. But the way that I look at it, he has been fantastic. And you can make all the arguments you want about MVP and how that's, tied to standings. But to me, all NBA first team isn't as tied to standings as an MVP pick. I think LeBron, just compare him to any other player in the league this year and just make an argument. Go ahead. You got a point. Go ahead.
All right. You put words in my mouth. I never said LeBron wasn't a top 5 player in the league. I have to have like my backcourt quota and my front court. I understand. 2 backcourt players, 3 front court. So LeBron's just the odd man out. It's a really good front court league, as you said. It's a league of wings. And we have a good center too. I'm just sorry. I just found 3 players that I would put ahead of him right now.
Man, Jokic. I don't know. Jokic is great. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he contributes as much to winning as a lot of people think. He's putting in a lot of numbers. Hey, his record is pretty much the same as the Lakers.
The Rocky Mountains are coming for you. That's all.
I don't care, man. I love Jokic. Not to mention, actually, don't get me wrong, I'm a little salty with his. We're not going to get into that. Never mind. Do you have your second team?
I got my second team.
I'm not going to
be a little happier with
I'm not going to
one.
get into that conversation. We'll keep moving.
I got, for my backcourt, I got Chris Paul and Donovan Mitchell.
Okay.
And now this is where the conversation, it's going to be interesting to see whether the NBA is like, all right, you have to choose this player as your front court or backcourt player. I have DeMar DeRozan as a front court player because he plays power forward. When he starts basically at power forward for the Bulls in most of their lineups. And then when he's not playing power forward, he's playing small forward. Very rarely does he ever slide in as a guard. So that's why I found it interesting in the All-Star voting that they consider him a guard, because he's not playing that position at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, Chris Paul, Donovan Mitchell, DeMar DeRozan, Joel Embiid, and yes, one LeBron James
on the second team. Well, on behalf of LeBron,
second team's still pretty good.
On behalf of LeBron, thank you for having him on his second team. But yeah, man, it's not bad. It's not bad, but I think there's one guy that's definitely underrated that didn't make an appearance on yours. I'm gonna go with Trae Young and Ja Morant as my backcourt, man. Trae Young to me is just completely underrated. I get it. His team is not having the success, but I just got to look at what these guys are doing. Trae Young is at the top of the scoring leaders. He's up there, I believe, in the top 5. He's up there in the top 3, I think, as far as assists goes. I think that's overlooked a lot what Trae Young is doing with that team. I get it. The team has really been struggling. Got to give him props. Ja Morant didn't make my first team. He's definitely right there on the second team with the way that he's been balling so far this season. And this is where it gets a little bit interesting too, because you could say that I'm going with 3 centers, and I kind of am a little bit. I give Jokic my second team nod. I give Joel Embiid a second team nod. And I also give Karl Anthony Towns currently.
Oh, you threw them all on there.
I threw them all on there. 3 big men. I understand. Obviously, it comes down to the way that things will get selected as far as positioning. And obviously, LeBron is sometimes the point guard, sometimes the center. No one knows where to really put him. It's kind of positionless. So it is interesting how things will kind of happen there. But those are kind of the 5 that I'm going with as I'm moving forward as my second team. I think these collectively have been the top 10 players in the NBA this season. It's nice to see some new names up there like a Ja Morant, like a Karl Anthony Towns, who's starting to play the way that we thought he could play, starting to get an outside touch. So that's just the way that I look at my first and second all NBA team so far.
All right. So for my third team, and this one I also kind of took some liberties with, because you could argue I have 3 backcourt players here, but 2 of them you could kind of throw into a forward position. I'd probably so here's what I'm going to say my backcourt is. I have Luka and I have Trae Young as my backcourt. With my front court is Zach LaVine, because Zach LaVine's in a lot of those 4 guard lineups with the Chicago Bulls, to where he kind of fits in at that small forward. Whether it's like Caruso, Ball, DeRozan and him, and then probably Vooch or really any other player. So LaVine's my small forward. And then I have Draymond Green and Rudy Gobert.
Draymond
Green.
Ooh.
Hear me out. he's been great defensively this year. His playmaking ability has been fantastic. He allows Curry to move around off the ball. And I think Draymond, he's kind of reinvigorated his value in the league, like to where we're kind of thinking like, Draymond's probably past his prime a little bit during the Warriors years without Clay. And all of a sudden, Draymond's kind of just found his new groove. And it was tough to leave Towns off. I only justified it because I'm like, I want one center on here. So I had to go with Gobert. But otherwise, Towns would be there. But I had to give it to Draymond Green. I don't like giving the Warriors props when I don't have to. But I don't want to ignore Draymond Green's contribution to the Warriors this season.
No, I get you. I get you. I took a little bit of liberty with mine as well. And it's funny, we kind of did it the same way. I gave it to Chris Paul and Luka as my backcourt there. I did slide in Zach LaVine as well in my front court a little bit, just kind of the same way that you did it. I also put in Rudy Gobert. I understand that, but the one I didn't roll with, obviously Draymond Green, but you can make an argument against this one, and I completely listen to it because of just the injury that he sustained throughout this year. But I gave a little nod to Jimmy Butler. I just think the way that he's played when he's been in the lineup, he's been the best player for the Miami Heat. He's really kind of just done everything for them. We saw in the very beginning of the season where he was putting himself in that MVP conversation, obviously got hurt and hasn't been around the team as much. But I think Jimmy Butler, I would listen if you came in and said he hasn't played enough. Completely understand that. I just think, to me, he's been one of the top 15 players in the NBA when he's been on the court this season. And I got to give him a little nod there at my NBA 13.
Oh, no, I completely understand that pick. Hell, if he played a healthy season, I might even consider putting him on my second team.
Yeah,
it's just the problem was for me. And it hurts not put Jim. I love Jimmy Butler. He's one of my favorite players in the league. But I just left him off, like I said, because of availability. And there are other guys that are also producing at high levels that I figured like it's kind of unfair to them to not have him in place of Jimmy Butler. So trust me. Hell, I wish I could put Paul George on this list because he was amazing. And now I'm hearing he might not even return this season. Yeah. Like I saw a report where like Clippers might be sellers this year. So yeah, that my pick for 2 years ago were Clippers to be the favorite. And then if they don't win it this year, the favorite next year. No. Oh, I didn't say they'd be a favorite for this year. I learned my lesson. But yeah, so there are a lot of players because of injuries that didn't make this list. It's tough. This is a talented league this year.
Oh, it is, man. It's tough.
So,
and when you get to the top, you're just splitting hairs. That's the way that you have to do it. It's just whichever way they lie for you.
Which I hope you'll understand is why LeBron was on my first team, because I had to split a lot of hairs. I had to split a lot of hairs.
That's all right. I understand it completely, but obviously, dude's going to be up there for mine. But did you make your all-star voting or did you?
No, but I could probably come with one up. The all-star starters on top of my head. But you go first.
I'll just run through it real quickly. On the West, to the backcourt, I'm giving it right now to Ja Morant and Steph Curry. Steph Curry, just self-explanatory what he's done this season. Ja really is holding down that second guard spot for me. It's been great. His play reminds me so much of a young Derrick Rose. His play puts him in that second guard spot for me. On the front court, giving it to Jokic, I'm giving it to LeBron, and I'm giving it to Karl Anthony Towns. We spoke earlier, LeBron was my MVP so far this season. Joker's picked up right where he left off last season, carrying the Nuggets as far as he can. Cat deserves this nod in my book. He slowly, to me, turned into what we thought Anthony Davis was going to be at this time. And right now he's one of the premier big men in the league, and he's improving his outside touch as we go along. So that's what I have for the West as my starting five is right now.
All right, for the West, for my starting five, I'm going to go Steph and Ja, just like you said, with my backcourt. With my front court, obviously got to put LeBron James and Jokic there. I don't know if I can see Towns getting the vote to start.
No, I understand. Yeah, it's just my vote. Wait, if
okay.
I'm just submitting my votes for all stars.
You're gonna look at me crazy again, but I think Draymond.
Yeah,
and I'm basing that on team success, on player name, and just the Golden State Warriors vote. And I just think he's really good this year. So, I mean, Draymond Green, it's kind of the only thing we'll say, I will be pissed as hell to see Klay Thompson on an all-star team.
Yeah.
Better not happen. Golden State, you love Klay. We all love Klay. Klay's probably the player we like the most out of all your guys.
Yeah.
People can hate Curry for his just even though I don't really hate Curry, I just really, but we all love Clay. We get it. We get he's popular. Don't vote him in. He didn't play. There are plenty of guards in the West that deserve a spot. So
definitely
please don't vote Clay. And Laker Nation, come on, Westbrook.
Oh, I agree with you there.
Stop.
No, I'm
all right.
Malik Monk over Westbrook, the way I look at it. Oh man, definitely. Let's just run through our East then real quick too. I'm going to go for my backcourt for the East. I'm going to give the nod to DeMar DeRozan and Trae Young. Those to me have been the top two guards in the Eastern Conference. DeRozan's been nothing short of spectacular for the surprising Bulls. To me, he deserves the honor. And I think us as a league are really undervaluing Trae Young and what he's done for the Hawks. That's one of those hills that I'm going to die on. I think Trae Young is a great player in this league and is not getting enough attention. I know the team has really struggled. You can't put that on Trae, and to me, he deserves to be the starter. And in the front court, I'm going to go with probably the most obvious three, in my opinion: Giannis, KD, and Embiid. Those three guys to me are easy choices. They've all been the driving force and best players on their contending teams. So that's the starting five I'm going with in the Eastern Conference.
All right. So for my first team, because they considered both these guys guards, it's a full Bulls. The Bulls are starting. Boy. We have two starters probably for the first time since like 1996, because I believe MJ and Scotty were all-star starters that year. The Bulls, we got Levine and we got DeRozan. They're starting the backcourt only because DeRozan's considered backcourt in the voting for whatever reason. So that's what we're going to do. And obviously we have Durant, Giannis, and Embiid.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of who would be, like, let's say Durant isn't back by All-Star. Who starts? Who gets the start, would you say?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. I think you start to look.
I could see a world where Jimmy Butler would get the start.
Maybe when you start to kind of just go down the list a little bit, man. You're just thinking of the Bulls.
I would cry if it's Levine, DeMar, and Butler. I'm like, you know what? It's three Bulls. That's three Bulls right there. Yeah. I'm happy.
I don't know. When you start to go down, I mean, heck, do you give it to – I don't know. That's really a tough one because trying to fill in, a forward spot in the Eastern Conference. I like Butler there. There's been a lot of – I mean, maybe Miles Bridges?
No,
not enough. Oh yeah, maybe not starter. Yeah, I think you could possibly make one.
I'd put Tatum way before Miles Bridges.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, that's a tough one, man. That's a real tough one.
I put maybe I wouldn't. I was gonna say maybe I'd put Julius Randle.
No, not this year. Not this year.
Yeah, but no, I thought about it.
I don't know, man. That's a tough one, but yeah. Those are our mid-season so far rankings as far as our awards, our all MVP, our all NBA teams, and our all-star vote.